Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. It's the end of the weekend now, so that's kind of unfortunate, but hopefully everybody's healthy, everybody's staying healthy, everybody's eating right, and keeping your hands clean and doing everything you can to just keep your health for as long as possible. I do have quite a bit of stuff to get into, so hopefully I'll get through everything in time. Before I start getting into the material, I did want to give a couple of shout outs to a couple of YouTubers that commented on my past videos. One is Mike Maxis. He said he's a longtime sub here and he lives in Clearwater, and he says that I have some well taken points. So I appreciate that, Mike Maxis. That's awesome. And that's cool that you live in Clearwater too. So I don't know maybe where you discovered my channel. I know that a couple of years ago I was posting sea breeze thunderstorm videos and stuff like that. So I don't know. I've posted a couple of hurricane related videos. There was one of Irma that I wrote out. So I don't know. I do some local stuff here and there if I go out and about. I don't really do it much anymore because I'm working full time now, so it's kind of hard to stay up on YouTube. But I'm trying to get back into that by doing these videos. And also Zymer I guess Ximer Tracks, and sub to me. And his or her comment is here before 2,000 subscribers. More content, please. Let's be friends. XO. Definitely will be friends. That's awesome. And in fact, I subscribed to your channel, Zymer Treks, non-copyright music. And hopefully I'm saying that right. If not, just drop me a comment below and just let me know like the proper pronunciation. So then I'll have it right from now on. And for the last thing that I noticed, let's see, this was back in an earlier video. It was back on March of the 23rd, and I think he left the comment 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago. And it says Brian Metris is the name of the YouTuber, and he left a comment mentioning the Drudge Report. So a big thanks to that. Looks like I'm getting these stupid things again, my stupid ad block crap. Anyway, so I really appreciate that. Drudge Report, I completely forgot about that. I haven't been to Drudge Report in years and years. And what's really funny is that it looks very similar to the way it's always looked. It's very like Web 1.0 type of format. It looks like really, really clean and simple. Just really nice, kind of reminiscent in a way to go back there. So I really forgot about Drudge Report. I mean, I hear about it sometimes, like when I'm not lately really, but there's a couple of shows that I've followed in the past, and they've brought up Drudge Report here and there. I haven't really heard much of it recently, but yeah, that's awesome. So I believe I got at least one article out of the Drudge Report. So, and I will be covering that in this video. So definitely a huge thanks. You all are awesome. I mean, I know some videos I'll get like 10 views or 8 views, but honestly, I could care less about the view count. I'm just doing this just because it gives me something to do, and I'm reading all of these news articles, whether if I'm doing a video or not. So I figured I might as well just take up this little hobby of putting these together. But I don't know if I'm going to continue doing these coronavirus videos on a daily basis. I may scale back a little bit and maybe do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing, or maybe do it like twice a week or something like that. I guess it just depends on how heavy the news really is and how much is going on. I mean, it's still very heavy. There's still a lot of news going on, and there's a lot of things happening, and it's only going to get probably worse and worse until we reach the top of this peak of those who are affected with coronavirus. But I did post a video earlier today. Let's see. It's referencing the Gorgon Stare. That's what it is, and it's a military program, however you want to call it, dealing with surveillance drones that would survey like a wide urban area, and the drone would just sit there and just constantly record the ground. It's like a 6-mile radius or something like that, and they would just sit there and just record and record. And if there was a crime that was committed, or in the case of the military, if somebody buried an IED or a roadside bombing or something like that, and if they caught that on the drone, they would be able to rewind the tape and find out hopefully where they came from or where they went to after they did whatever it is that they did that was wrong. And the video that I put out there today, it kind of goes over the possibility of police departments in the United States rolling out these types of programs where they would use drones like that. And they did an experiment in Baltimore using this program back in 2016. I wasn't able to find anything other than that was experimented with regard to inside the U.S. But to some people, you might say it's a clear violation of your Fourth Amendment rights, or you might argue that, well, it's in public. I mean, if you're outside, you're in public more or less, minus your front and backyard, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know. It's really hard for me to jump the fence on one side or the other. Which is it a good thing or a bad thing? I think it would really drive down a lot of crime if there's criminals out there that knows that there's an eye in the sky that's watching them, and if they rob a bank and they try to get away, they've got that eye in the sky that's just watching everywhere they go. And when they get back to their safe house or whatever, the police department who rewinds the tape and watches it, they're going to find out where you're at. Even if you leave that house and you keep trying to run, they're just going to keep following you, at least until you get to the outer zone of that radius. But if they have like a city-wide surveillance program like that with multiple drones, you might not have any way to escape by the time that they catch up to you. But excuse me, sorry. But yeah, I thought it was a really fascinating thing. I first heard about it. It was back around 2016, somewhere around there. It was probably around the time that Baltimore started experimenting with that. So yeah, so if you want, you could check that out. That's kind of the types of topics, not specifically military stuff or controversial stuff, really, but just something that kind of just fascinates me in one way or another. I was hoping to, with the podcast that I'll finally roll out if I ever get my camera to start it with, but I just want to just do these random topics that may not be covered so much out there. So I might start doing that. Maybe I'll do it alternating days. I might do one of my coronavirus episodes, and then the next day I might just roll out just one single topic and talk about it for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I think the one with the Gorgon stare was about 40 minutes, maybe 45. So, but yeah, I already got a comment on it. I only uploaded it about an hour and a half ago, and I already got a comment. So that was kind of cool. So anyway, let's see. I got through the shout outs. And so there is an update in Pinellas County that I didn't get it today. I think I got it sometime during the day yesterday. It might have been as early as Friday. But I received one of those emergency notices on my phone. I'm sure everybody out there, at least in the U.S., are probably receiving these emergency notices. It sounds like the emergency broadcasting system. It's this crazy alarm that goes off on your phone. And I think the more common one is social distancing, stay 6 feet away from others, groups of 10 or less, that sort of stuff. I'm sure everybody in the country is getting those messages. But the one that we got was different. It says that all boats, they must occupy 10 people or less. And I'm kind of paraphrasing here because I had some trouble trying to pull it up again after I clicked OK. So, but this is the gist of what it said. And I think it's 50 feet. It could be more or less, but I think 50 feet was what they were suggesting, a 50-foot distance between vessels, and they will be enforcing that. And the reason they're doing that is because people are trying to get around this social distancing thing by not crowding on the beach, because you can't do that anymore. So instead, people will get into their boats and they'll go over to that sandbar that's just barely offshore. It takes you like a minute to swim to it. Like when you go out into the water, it gets a little deep. You can't touch the ground really. And then you keep swimming out just barely a little bit longer. Then you can start feeling sand again. Then it gets shallow. Well, there's boats that I guess, I haven't seen any personally. I haven't been to the beach in forever. But I guess that there's groups of boats that are kind of crowding together and having like sandbar parties and stuff like that. So they're going to be enforcing that from now on. And all vessels out there have to be 10 people or less. So that's a pretty big measure because there's a lot of these yachts out there and just pretty big sized boats that can easily fit over 10 people on them. So yeah, but it looks like the sheriff's department's going to be patrolling the areas and looking for that. So I guess Mike Maxis, since you live here in Clearwater, I don't know if you have a vessel that can hold 10 people or more, but I'm sure you got the message. It's not one of those things that you can opt out of. No matter what, we're going to be getting them. So there you go. And then I also watched the President's Sunday speech. It just ended just a little bit ago. So that's what took me so long to get this thing started. So probably yet again, I'm not going to be able to get this video up tonight just because of that. But I'll try to move along quickly and see if I can get this up or get this finished at least as soon as I can. It usually takes about an hour or so for the video to compile, like when I'm editing it to get it prepared for YouTube. Usually takes about an hour, so I guess it just depends. I don't know. I got work tomorrow, so. And I hope you do too. I really do. I hope everybody has to go to work tomorrow. I hope everybody has to go to bed early. Chances are you're watching this after the fact. Hopefully you just got home from work, or maybe you're, I don't know, at work or whatever. I don't know. But anyway. All right. So let's see. Getting into the President Sunday's speech. Let me center this a little bit. I always keep it way over here. It's actually a little bit better. I don't want to cover this awesome background. Wayland Corporation. What do they have it worded as? Wayland Yutani Corporation, it looks like. Building Better Worlds. And I won't give you the movie. Actually, it's well, hell, it's up to like 6 movies now, but for those sci-fi fans, you definitely know which movie that this logo was popular in, especially if you watch the extended version of this movie. Because they actually show the logo in a few of those cut scenes that they put into the extended version of the movie. One of my favorite movies of all time, with those scenes specifically put into it. But I think the third movie, they also featured this logo in a couple of spots too. Or maybe they didn't feature the logo, but I know they definitely mentioned Wayland Corporation in it. So awesome movies. So anyway, yeah, just drop it in the comments if you know what it is. I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to find if you want to cheat, but yeah, pretty cool. I mean, that was just by coincidence. I just liked the way the picture looked. And then I noticed that was there. I was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this. So anyway, for the President's Sunday speech, the president is extending the guidelines to April 30th. So the whole 6-foot distance from other people, groups of 10 or less, the whole regular thing. They are going to extend that to April 30th, which is obviously it's past Easter. So him shooting for Easter to start lifting guidelines isn't going to happen. So right now they're trying to hold it back to the end of next month, which I thought that was terrible news, obviously. I mean, it's not going to help the economy in any way. I mean, I think the big clue that we already got as far as the economy being affected by this is Congress and the government passing this the 4 months of unemployment that you're going to get paid like 100% of what you were earning on the job. I think it's up to $600 a week or something like that. So, I mean, for them to extend that 4 months, I think that they're pretty well aware that we're not going to be out of this until at least the summer. And it might be beyond that. I hope not. But I mean, if we're stuck inside for 4 months and no restaurants, no retail, no movie theaters, no shopping malls, all of that, I don't know how you can come back from that. I honestly don't. I mean, it's going to be a really hard road ahead, and we're going to be on like super crazy thin ice trying to keep ourselves from falling through into a depression. So I don't know, it's really ominous. But hopefully April 30th will be all right. I was trying to find these what are they called? Not the graphs, but they were these trends or whatever you want to call it, like these charts that they talk about sometimes in press conferences, like where the curve goes over. And during his press conference today, they were talking about we'll hit the peak somewhere at the end of, or like in the middle of April, I think is what they were talking about, as far as people dying from the disease and catching the disease. And they're expecting by the end of May that it's going to level back off, like the hill's going to go back down again. I was trying to find those. I couldn't find any. I just didn't have any luck. So if you find one out there on the internet, one of those trends or charts or graphs or whatever that's predicting what's going to happen in the future with this virus, definitely hit me up with the link down in the comments below, and just check the source though. I mean, if it's on Vox.com or something, I'm not even gonna click on it, because that's not a reliable source. I mean, like something, I don't know, something.gov would be amazing. That'd be the perfect one to go for. I mean, if the CDC might have some projections or something, I don't think they do, but maybe they do. Yeah, so that'd be really helpful. That'd be awesome to show that on the next video. So let's see, the FDA approves Abbott. I may have spelled the name of that company wrong because I've never heard of Abbott. I don't know if it's Abbott Corporation. I don't know if it's Abbott Inc. But the president just said Abbott, so I'm not really sure. But the FDA approves Abbott to produce 5-minute virus testing. And it usually takes the FDA 9 months or longer to approve any kind of testing. But in this case, the FDA approved within 4 weeks. So they're getting on it really quick. And this rollout is going to produce 50,000 tests per day, and it can test health workers very quickly. And I'm paraphrasing everything that the president said during his speech. So hopefully that's something that we'll start to see pretty soon. I'm sure if they ramp up this number to maybe 100,000 tests or more, maybe, I mean, it'll probably even 50,000 tests a day. I'm sure there will probably be members of the public that might have access to these, but I think they're mostly concerned about health workers of possible exposure, maybe at the end of their shift, dealing with all these coronavirus patients in the ICU, and they've just been exposed to that air for 8 straight hours or 12 or 15, 18 hours, however long they're having to work for. Then when they leave, I mean, it would be, at least it seems like it'd be helpful for them to take a quick 5-minute test just to make sure that they don't have it. I don't know if that's really their plan. I'm just assuming maybe that's what they're going to be looking into, at least with these tests that they're going to be rolling out here. I don't think he gave an exact time when they're rolling them out. It's probably immediately because he mentioned it in the speech. So, and the FDA has been working on approving this for 4 weeks, and he just announced it today. So I'm sure, like right now, they're probably producing 50,000 tests a day, and maybe today is day one, tomorrow's day one, as far as their rollout project with Abbott, the company Abbott. So, and let's see here. Let's see, 1,100 PTS points. No, I think hold on. In New York City. Oh, okay. I don't know why. I must have hit a key or something. I'm pretty sure this is units. I'm positive it's units. There's 1,100 units of hydroxychloroquine that was rolled out in New York City that patients are receiving. So they're administering hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak in combination to patients that are in hospitals around New York City. And that, I believe, is a daily basis, 1,100 units per day. So that's something that I've mentioned in the previous videos. It's something they've talked about in the past, that they were sending all of those over to New York City to give to patients that are in critical condition or maybe in the ICU or maybe just struggling more than most people are with the coronavirus. And let's see, there was approval for the sterilization of masks. And President Trump mentioned this a week ago. He kind of owned it, really. So I don't know if it really was his idea, but he made it sound like it was his idea, the way that he delivered that. He mentioned, it was sometime last week during one of his speeches, he said that he didn't understand why we can't just sterilize the masks that we're using, especially the high quality ones, the ones with the thick fabric and everything. So, I mean, they might... He was just suggesting out into the professional ether, I suppose. Why don't we just come up with some sort of a solution to where we can sterilize the mask that we've been wearing all day, and we can use it multiple times instead of just throwing it away as soon as you're done with it. And I thought that was an excellent idea. Again, he didn't say it was his. I mean, he made it sound like it was his just by the wording of it. But I mean, if it was his idea, that's a freaking brilliant one. But to drive that further, there is an Ohio company that is right now in the final process of approval for, I assume it's a solution. Maybe it's something you'll spray onto the masks, but they're in the final process of approval for masks that can be re-sterilized. So they're saying basically like the stronger masks, probably like the construction masks or the painters N95 masks, those kinds, the ones that are thick. Those would be the ones that would be able to get sterilized up to 20 times, maybe even more if it's successful. But right now, they're going through approval. I'm almost positive that it's the FDA that is in the like the ones that are trying to approve this solution or this method for re-sterilizing masks that have already been used. So that's a really good sign, because that'd be awesome if they can. That would be really good for our supply, definitely big time. So, and I got this from npr.org without having to show the whole article. And this is the link. So, I don't know the proper etiquette really for citing the sources when you're making a YouTube video, but I got the link there. I know it's a pain in the ass if you want to actually go to it. I always say just Google search it, like pick like Project Airbridge, needed supplies, NPR, it'll probably just instantly come up. So, But anyway, from NPR.org, Sunday's shipment included, okay, so this is the shipment. Let's see here. The Sunday's shipment included 130,000 N95 masks, nearly 1.8 million other face masks and gowns, more than 10.3 million gloves, and more than 70,000 thermometers, according to a White House statement. Now, this is pertaining to FEMA ramping up to 51 flights daily for supply deliveries to cities, and it's called Operation Airbridge. Now, the statistics that are being mentioned here, that is pertaining to flights that are in the 20s. It was somewhere like 21, 22, maybe 23 flights. It wasn't the 51. They're ramping up to 51 flights in the future, in the near future. But these numbers are based on the number of flights around the 20s for today. So I think 21 is the right number. I see 51, so I instantly think that's not right, but I'm almost positive that's right. So they sent out 21 individual flights, and these are the numbers of what they were able to deliver around the country. A handful of American healthcare distributors purchased the supplies, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency paid for the Shanghai to New York flight. I don't know why I included that, to be honest. I'm not really sure what that's pertaining to. I must have just only got halfway through it and just copied too much, maybe. But I mean, if you can make sense out of that, you know. But I mean, that sounds good. So, all right. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. 500 billion. Okay, so this is pertaining to the money, like to what we're going to be getting from the stimulus and from the new bill that they just passed on Friday, or that the president signed on Friday. So $500 billion are going to go toward unemployment and for the stimulus. And the stimulus, if I'm sure you've heard it already, probably several times, that $1,200 is going to go to every adult, and $500 is going to go to every child that lives in the home. And if you're married, it will be $2,400, and it caps at $75,000, and then the $1,200 starts to scale down until you reach $99,000. $99,000 would be the lowest number that will go to each person. I didn't take the number because I think that's insane. If you make $99,000, I think that taking government benefits is beyond crazy. I mean, I make, well, no, I'm not going to go there. It's not good. It's not very much. I mean, no, I'm not going to do that because, you know, I got friends online and stuff. I don't want to tell people how much money I make, but it's you know, it's not 20,000, but it's also not 40,000. Okay. I mean, it's far from both. I mean, it's not too far from 20, but you know what I mean? I'm just saying that if you make $75,000 a year, you should be in no position to be taking money from the government whatsoever. And maybe you're a family of 8, maybe you just happen to make $75,000 a year, and you got, 8 mouths to feed, including yourself, and you got to have a bigger house to have all these kids. So to that circumstance, I totally understand. Okay. But that's not most people's circumstance. I mean, most people don't have 7 kids or 6 kids. I mean, most people, it's probably a family of 4, maybe a family of 5, and they're already making 75 grand. I'm just saying, if I made 50 grand and if I had 5 kids, I mean, you might think I'm crazy for saying this, but I think we'd be just fine for sure. I mean, I know. Just leave the comments below. I'll read it. I don't care if I get criticized or not. That's why whenever I publish a video, I don't. There's some selections on YouTube. I'm really tempted to try to find this, but I don't think I can unless I'm uploading a video. But there's an option when you're uploading a video pertaining to the comments, and the default one is most comments allowed, some subject to YouTube review or something stupid like that. But then you can click in that box and you can see a wide range, like no comments at all. And it ranges up to allow all comments. I mean, it's that simple. Allow all comments, and that's what I do for all my videos. So you can troll me if you want. You can put out, you can hate on my videos. I don't care. Because not many people are watching them anyway. And even if there were a lot of people watching them, then who cares? It's the freaking internet. The internet's made for mean people. I mean, I've been mean on the internet before. Everybody's been mean on the internet before. I mean, it used to be the Wild West until YouTube started getting all authoritarian and stupid. But anyway, all right, where was I? I don't want to trail off so much today. I mean, I've been doing that a lot lately, and I've been trying to get into these articles with too much time wasted because I talk too freaking much. So anyway, let's see here. So, let me see. Okay, so let me get back to this. So 500 billion for unemployment and for the stimulus package will be distributed to states very quickly. But there are some states that have a decades old system that may not be able to handle the supply of money this large in terms of distribution to all the citizens in their state. So if it does take longer than it's supposed to, the president is formally, during the speech, he's formally asking for Congress to reconvene to get a plan together in order to distribute that money faster within that particular state. I'm sure they'll bring in the governor from that state. He didn't give out any state names or anything, but he's saying there are some states that have a very old, relatively ancient system as far as money distribution. Like if the, I don't know, I guess like maybe on a, like on an emergency management perspective, if let's say like Arkansas, actually Arkansas was hit by a tornado. So, I mean, I'm standoffish to use them as an example, and I hope everybody's okay. Last I heard, there were only 6 that were hurt. So, nobody died. I mean, at least I haven't seen anything in the news pertaining to that. I hope nobody died. But let's say for instance that Arkansas wants to declare that county a disaster area. So they need federal funding to help rebuild what they've lost to whatever extent that they can, that the government can provide to them. When it comes to that, the system in Arkansas, for example, I am not saying this happens in Arkansas. I'm just giving this up as an example, that perhaps that system is it's really old, so it's not set up for taking billions of dollars and dumping it into the laps of those people who are responsible for distributing it out to large amounts of people. And we're talking statewide populations of people who make essentially $100,000 or $99,000 or less. I mean, everybody's going to get a piece of that. So he's saying that there are some states out there where that might happen. So if you live in one of these states, and again, he didn't say which states these were, but there are some states where it might take a little longer than it would take other states to receive that money either in the mail or in your direct deposit. And if there are some states who are either dropping the ball or it's just taking longer than it's supposed to, the president wants to convene with Congress and find out how we can get this money to these people faster. Because, I mean, to be honest, rent's coming up. It is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I mean, the day after tomorrow is the 31st. That's the last day before most people have to pay their rent. So a lot of these people who are furloughed from their jobs are counting on getting this money. And they've 3.3 million people filed for unemployment just this past week. So I mean, I'm really afraid to see what this coming week's number is going to be. I mean, I'm afraid that it's going to be double, which is crazy to think that 10 million people in 2 weeks are filing for unemployment. But I mean, the weight of the situation, it's real though. I mean, all the restaurants are closed here, all the shopping centers, the plazas, all the malls, and everything that's retail that's not deemed necessary. They've closed everything. Which, by the way, there's some states that are closing gun stores because they're rendering them unnecessary establishments. I think that is absolute crap. I really want to cuss right now, but I'm trying to keep that like to a minimum because I know YouTube doesn't like that because they're all G-rated, safe space, whatever. I won't go any further than that, but I mean I think YouTube should be the freaking Wild West, but whatever. Language-wise, that is. I'm not talking about like crazy stuff that the internet is capable of doing. So, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But let me go ahead and move on before I get too sidetracked. So 90% of surveyed Americans said that they are practicing social distancing and they are trying to maximize their time at home by not going out. So that's a really good number. And the president didn't say how many were surveyed. He didn't give the details, but apparently there was this big survey that was done, and 9 out of 10 of those people who were surveyed, I guess 90% should be a better way to word that, but 90% of the people who were surveyed said that they're doing the best they can. They're trying to stay away from everybody. They're staying inside as long as they can. Sometimes you might run out of something. You might run out of meat in your freezer, and you may just have to go to the store and take the risk. That's kind of the position I'm in. I mean, I do have a stockpile, and this isn't like a bunker size stockpile where I've got a year's worth of food. No, if I ration it like crazy, like really ration it, like down to all right, I need 100 calories of this, 150 calories of this. All right, let's do that for 2 meals a day, because let's cut the third meal out because, we don't need 3 meals a day. We can survive on 2. I mean, like if I got that crazy with it, I think that in my situation with the 3 of us, we could probably spread it out to 2 months, somewhere between maybe 2 and 3 months. So I think in total, because most of the stuff I bought at Aldi, I definitely spent under $200 worth of goods, food. So it's not like that I got like $800 worth of food just stockpiled in my house. It's not even anywhere near that. But I think if you know if I'm not going to be a glutton, if I actually just take the time to ration it out, I probably could stretch it 2 months. But just like last week, we ran out of butter, and well, we didn't run out, but I just wanted to go there one last time before the virus got too out of control to the point where it's like, man, it's like flipping a coin. Like either I'm coming back with it with coronavirus or I'm not. But at the time I went to the store, there were only 42 people in Pinellas County that were diagnosed with coronavirus. So I'm thinking, okay, well, there's 980,000 people that live here, so I mean, I think that's pretty good odds, really, to be honest. I mean, like the odds are like 1 in thousands that I would bump into somebody who would have it. So I still took the precautions, the long sleeve shirt, the pants, and all that. I've already gone over all that. But so I just went to the store, brought a list with me. It was a good sized list, but I was in and out of there in like 30, 45 minutes. Wore black gloves and all that stuff. Was very careful. I made sure my hands didn't go anywhere near my face the whole time. And I got a lot of the essentials that we thought that we were prepared with, but we didn't have. And just over about a week's worth of time, that list just got a little bigger and a little bigger. Like one thing, for example, other than butter, there was soda, because I got tons of water. I got like 50 gallons of water, but we don't really have anything else besides that. Water. That's about all he prepared for. I didn't think about getting Kool-Aid, which I didn't find at the store, and some other things, but I figured, you know what, that'd be kind of nice for dinner that you can have a can of soda maybe. So I got 3 12 packs of soda, and they were actually buy 2 get 1 free. So I was really surprised that even grocery stores are offering those deals. I thought that was insane. I mean, yeah, Publix still has buy 1 get 1 here and there, and Winn-Dixie still has buy 1 get 1 free sales. I don't know if they have them around where you're at, but they still have those occasional sales. I just think it's weird because people are gobbling up everything. I mean, you're still going to I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, I think maybe a month from now, all that's going to catch up. They probably already advertised all this. They probably already did all that, in their advertising agencies and all that, just trying to put together all the newsletters for print, what you get in the newspaper and all that. Which, by the way, I got a newspaper today. It's pretty cool. Woke up this morning, went out front, tried to get just a nice, clean breath of fresh air. Sun shining. It's nice and humid. It's warm. And they left a Sunday paper. That's pretty cool. They honestly, they do this every couple of months. I think it's just an accident. But Tampa Bay Times. And it's for Sunday, March 29th, 2020. Headline, Florida cases increasing fast. And I've got a couple of things highlighted here on the front page that I'm going to go ahead and read. And I apologize. I keep forgetting your name. Mike Maxis. I'm sorry, Mike Maxis. But I don't know if you get the Sunday paper, but I figured it's better than just throwing it away. I mean, I might as well use it for a little bit of this video because it's like, I don't know, probably at least 70% coronavirus related. So there's a couple of things in here. Pinellas County posts 3 more deaths. So I'll talk about that really briefly. The stimulus checks are coming for most people. I'm going to mention that really briefly, but the Florida cases are increasing fast. I'll talk just the front page of the text. I'm not going to go back to 16A. I'm not going to flip back the pages and try to read the rest because honestly, the one that's on the back page is a lot more, it's a lot heavier in the wording. I mean, it'll take longer to read, but that was kind of cool. I got a Sunday newspaper today. That was an interesting surprise. As soon as I picked it up and was walking in the house, I was wondering, how many advertisements are going to be in this thing? It's probably completely empty because usually people buy the Sunday paper because it's packed full of coupons. But since nobody is buying anything right now, I figured the newspaper was going to be really thin compared to where it normally is. And honestly, it was. There were a lot of coupons in it. But if you bought a Sunday paper today, or especially if you buy them every Sunday, I'm sure you're noticing that they're getting lighter and lighter in terms of the weight because there's less advertising that's going on in those papers. But anyway, yeah, I'll go through that real quick as soon as I'm done with this art, my show notes here. So let's see here. So I know that the fake news media is probably going to attack him for this, so I just wanted to mention it now. During Trump's speech, he said that 151 countries have been affected by coronavirus right now, and he just emphasized how incredible that was, how many countries that is. He said he was talking to somebody about that number, and the person he was talking to, they were like, I didn't even know there were that many countries in the world. And but I do want to say that the number is actually 177. And I know that text is super small. I mean, I don't know if I can enhance it any better, but yeah, there you go. There's 177 countries / regions. So, okay, so maybe Trump was right. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. Maybe there's 151 countries, and the remaining number, 61, 71, 26, the other 26 are just, quote, regions, not really countries. I don't know. But from what I'm seeing here on the Johns Hopkins website with coronavirus, it's showing 177. So, before you hear the fake news, drone on about how wrong Trump always is, they'll probably do that. But you heard it here first, hopefully, or you heard it here eventually, and now you're like, oh, okay, all right, well, yeah. But if you did watch the president's speech, then you already know what I'm talking about. But I mean, yeah, I kind of wanted to throw in a little bit of filler information. Like with all the numbers he's been crunching, it was probably just a simple error. He probably saw 151 last week, and he's been updated with 177. But could you imagine all these numbers that are flowing through his head right now? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's a big numbers guy. I mean, he's a real estate developer. He's always thinking about money. He's always thinking about transactions and the bottom line and paying workers and and that's just him not even being the president. Now he's dealing, I mean, could you imagine the level of numbers he's dealing with now? I mean, I'm sure he's constantly being told that Nevada has this amount of cases and Wyoming has this amount of cases. I don't know, Maine, they just had their first few deaths and stuff like that. I mean, like numbers have to be it must be like a freaking computer to have to crunch those kind of numbers if you're a president dealing with the pandemic. I couldn't even imagine. And also, let's see here, the peak of the death rate, according to the latest models, estimate it's going to be 2 weeks from today, not from today, but from today. I was speed typing as I was watching the speech. So I don't believe that he actually said who drew up those models. I was trying to find that for myself online. I was trying to type in like coronavirus models and this, that, and the other, but it took me nowhere. I couldn't find anything official. I found one on freaking Vox, and I found another one, not Fox, Vox, VOX. And then there was another one I found on like Mother's something, like Mother's Digest or mothersomething.com. So I'm like, I'm not going to go with that one. I was hoping to find like cdc.gov, here's the latest model, but I couldn't find it. So I don't know if it's available to the public, but he's saying that the models that the White House is looking at, it's looking like 2 weeks from today, they're going to hit the peak of their death rate. And of course, he didn't give out the numbers because, panic. So that didn't happen. But, and then I also wanted to mention here that, that we are in need of ventilators. Ventilators are expensive. And Ford and GM, and I've already mentioned this in a previous video, but I just wanted to mention it once again. They are producing thousands of ventilators using automotive parts. Ford's using parts from the Ford F-150 that's in the assembly line. They're trying to build ventilators with that. And one of the plants that they're doing this in is in Kokomo, Indiana. And my father used to not only live in Kokomo, but he used to work in Chrysler at Kokomo as an industrial engineer. So that was cool. That hit close to home when he mentioned the other day that there's a plant. I think it was yesterday during his speech, Saturday. It might have been Friday, but he gave a shout out to Kokomo, saying that they're going to be rolling out thousands of ventilators out of that company. So that was kind of cool. That goes back to my teen years. With all this being said, with Ford and GM producing thousands of ventilators, because the mainstream media keeps trying to attack the president by saying like when are you going to give this state more ventilators, that state more ventilators? I mean, nothing is infinite, okay? And this should be a lesson to the socialist types who believe in free income, free healthcare, free everything, free money, free this, free that. Nothing is infinite, okay? First of all, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Eventually, somebody has to pay for it. It could be, a paper trail a mile away, but eventually somebody's going to cover the cost for it, okay? You might think it's free because somebody just handed it to you, but somebody's going to eat the cost of that. They're going to have to pay for it. So nothing is infinite, and there's only so many items that can be created in a timely manner. You can't just magically snap your finger or wave your magic wand, and now all of a sudden 330 million ventilators for every man, woman, and child in the United States just suddenly, boom, appears. It doesn't work that way, okay? I mean, that's just common sense, but I know, a lot of the young, well, I guess I'll just speak to my generation, because my generation, I'm saying that there are a lot of very intelligent millennials. There's also a lot of dumb, like really dumb millennials. And you can find them all over YouTube. All you got to do is just type in like Orange Man bad or hate Trump. Like anybody who hates Trump, just listen to them talk. They are absolute brain dead zombies. It's hilarious. Because you just ask him a simple question. Well, he's a liar. All right, well, what's he lied about? Well, he's a racist. All right, well, why is he a racist? He's misogynist. He's actually employed more people or more females to his administration than any other president in history. Well, he's a they stumble their words and stuff. But I mean, I could give off some other examples, but I don't want to drag this out too much. But there's a lot of those people out there that are just plain stupid, that they think that we should live in this social utopia where everything's free. It's like the movie iRobot. Why aren't we there yet? Why don't we have all these robots doing everything for us, taking care of us and doing everything we want? Why don't we have an existence like WALL-E, except of being super overweight? We're nice and skinny, and we just have everything handed to us anytime we want it. It's just not the way the real world works. It doesn't work that way. Nothing is infinite in this world. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Even water is not infinite. It might feel like it's infinite, but it's not. Everything is finite in this world, no matter how vastly the resources are or otherwise. But I mean, you can endlessly print money. You can, or if you endlessly print money, that is, you'll end up just being just like Venezuela, because that's exactly what they did. They just turned on the money machines and they printed. And right now in Venezuela, the average monthly wage is $40,000 a month. That's how much the average salary is in Venezuela. And to put that into perspective, what can you get with that? Well, you can get a hot dog from a vendor for $15,000. Now, it's not dollars, whatever they call their currency in Venezuela, but I've seen that. I've seen videos on YouTube, and they're easy to find. Just go on YouTube, type in, I don't know, life in Venezuela today or something like that. I mean, I just stumbled across a video and I saw that. And they were showing all these vendors, street side vendors. I mean, people, they looked a lot skinnier than they did a few years ago, but it wasn't chaos in the streets. It wasn't, tear gas constantly flying around and, like firework mortars being shot at cops and stuff. It wasn't anything like that. It actually looked kind of calm. But I mean, the economy there has inflated beyond sustainability for sure. But gas is free. Gas is 100% free. You can drive up to a gas station, just grab the pump, fill up your car, and you can keep on driving. I mean, Venezuela's got plenty of fuel. It's free to everybody, but that's probably the only thing that's free. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some other things that are, but I know their economy is absolutely destroyed. And that's the result of what you get when you just endlessly print money. And I'm speaking to those liberal types, not even liberal types. I'll leave the liberals out of it because they also have common sense. But the far leftist types who want this magic utopia where we just turn on all the free money machines and they just give out money to everybody. The dollar's still not going to be worth the same it is now than it would be if you multiplied every single dollar bill in this country times 100. I guess technically speaking, everything would go up, maybe up to 100 times more expensive if you did that, because you don't have any value to back that dollar. I mean, you got the Federal Reserve, and I'm not even getting started on that because I cannot believe that we still don't back our currency in gold or by some sort of a tangible value. I don't know. Whatever. That's for a whole nother thing. Maybe I'll do that on one of my topic videos in between my coronavirus videos. But that's what happens in places like Venezuela where you just print too much money. The more you print, the more it's worthless. The more you drive down the value of that currency. And, if your wage doesn't increase at all, but the cost of goods increase because the government is just pouring too much money into the system, well, then you're going to see a bag of bread cost $15. And everything else is going to go up, the same rate. It's all going to go up. I'm sure even your rent will go up, that exponentially if something like that happens. But anyway, that's the end of the notes. I think I left a little tidbit off here. Oh yeah, a unit costs $20,000 to $50,000, such as ventilators, which they do. So I mean, free everything. Nothing is infinite, and only so many items can be created timely. So when you got something like a ventilator, like what Trump just said, the president tonight just said that ventilators, it's not like you can just put a box together and boom, here you go, here's your ventilator. It's like building a car. It's a very sophisticated machine, and they cost between 20 and 50 grand. So I'm sure it's just like building a car, because that's about how much a car costs when it's brand new. So I'm sure it's a very sophisticated piece of machinery. So you can't just push a button and all of a sudden you just see this assembly line, just churning out all this stuff like a movie Edward Scissorhands with the cookies. All you gotta do is push a button. All right, it does it all itself. There you go. Here comes all the cookies. Here comes all the ventilators. And just keep going until we got enough and then just push the button. No, it doesn't work that way because we don't have enough materials to cover that. Where's all the money coming from? So on and so forth. So anyway, I'll go ahead and cut it there for the show notes, and then I'll go ahead and get into some of these articles. So before I get started on that, let me do what I usually do. I gotta go refill my cup, and I will be back in 3, 2, 1. And I'm back. I'm back. It's Michael Jackson's bad. All right. Anyway, Weird Al Yankovic, Fat. Remember that when he did the parody on Michael Jackson's bad? That was absolutely hilarious. Whatever happened to Weird Al? He's still around. I saw something on the internet. It was less than a year ago, I think. It might have been a little bit more than a year ago. Last I saw, he still had his curly long hair. He did Amish Paradise. I mean, hell, if you grew up in the 90s, yeah, Weird Al, man, he had it going on. It was awesome. Yeah, I don't know if he's done anything since the 90s, but pretty cool stuff. Yeah, actually, I did go to... Where did I go to get this? It was like a book swap. I don't even know where I found it. It might have been Craigslist or something, but there was some public event going on where and it was like it was legitimate or literally in a gymnasium. They had tons of these fold-out tables that just had books stacked, and we just went up and down the rows with the rest of the public who went out there, and they were selling books for like 25 cents, 50 cents, just like old books and stuff. I bought one of botany from the 1950s that I still have. And then I got this poster that was just kind of jammed in between two books, but it was in pristine condition of Beavis and Butthead. It's a Beavis and Butthead poster that was like in this little booklet that was advertising Beavis and Butthead Do America on VHS cassette tape or VHS tape. Pretty cool. I didn't hang it though. I'm still waiting. I don't want to mess it up because it's cool. It's like Beavis and Butthead standing on a concert stage, doing whatever it is that they do, and it's supposed to be 3D, like one of those old school 3D. Like one lens is blue, one's red, but the lines are really close together, so I'm not really sure if it's really that 3D. But I don't know. It's a full color picture. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I paid like a quarter for that. I mean, I probably could get that on eBay for like $10 probably. Big time Beavis and Butthead fan. They were awesome. I don't know. Has anybody seen the new Beavis and Butthead episodes? I know it's been a couple of years now, at least a couple of years. I know time's been flying like crazy for me, so I don't know. But I mean, I thought that Mike Judge brought it back on MTV of all places. I mean that's where they came from, but MTV brought them back, and I was just curious. I just didn't know if that was worth watching. I don't know. The old ones, I don't even know if you could recreate the old ones, man, because the animation was really crude looking. I just don't know if they could have replicated that. I mean, even when they did Beavis and Butthead Do America, like the animation was just too good. It just wasn't authentic enough. But anyway, whatever. I'm getting way off topic. If you haven't watched Beavis and Butthead before, like old school 90s Beavis and Butthead, find a way to watch it. I don't know. Like, I don't know if Netflix has it, whatever, wherever. I always fast forwarded through the music videos because I never liked music videos. I mean, I love music. I really like music. In fact, if you watched what was it? Not the last video I did, but the one I did on Friday, the 27th, my coronavirus video. That's the one that I actually was successful at getting my face on camera for about 10, 15 minutes. So, and you'd probably notice the wall behind me that it's like covered in like 90s, like 1990s heavy metal and alternative music memorabilia. And that stuff legitimately came from the 90s. I mean, I actually made this giant wall-size collage of what I was able to keep from when I moved out of my apartment when I was a teenager. It was like back in 2000, maybe 2001 when I had to move out. But I had like literally 700 pictures around all four of my walls. And most of them, they ripped in half because they were all taped together. But the ones I was able to salvage are on the wall right now. So that was pretty cool. I was able to save those. But yeah, big music fan. I love music. But I just don't like music videos. They're too hokey, especially back in the 90s and the 80s. I mean, man, I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody or disrespect anybody, but I'll just leave my opinion there that I just wasn't a big fan of music videos, and I'm sure I'm still not. There's a couple that I thought were pretty awesome. But anyway, all right, let me go ahead and get down to the point. Let's see, it's 8:48. Okay. I've been rapping for 49 minutes? All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Right now, we're at 720,000 people that have confirmed with coronavirus. That's official testing. The numbers, I'm sure, are way, way bigger because there's a lot of people who don't get sick enough to go to the hospital. And it sounds like the only people that they're testing are the ones who do go to the hospital. I mean, they do have those drive-through places, but I haven't heard of any in Pinellas County. So, I mean, those of you who are living around my area, correct me if I'm wrong, but I still have yet to hear of anything like that. I'm sure that they're still rolling that out around the country. I know like CVS, Walgreens, places like that, Walmart. Walmart donated. They said that they would be more than willing to donate as much parking lot area as needed. I mean, anybody who goes to a super Walmart, I mean, I think the parking lot is way bigger than the actual building you do your shopping in. So, but yeah, so right now it's 140,000 people in the United States. It's growing really fast. It's really scary. I mean, I think it is. At least it's not 7 digits right now. Hopefully when it peaks, it won't get there, but I don't know. Italy's still climbing fairly rapidly, but China, for some reason, they just keep the same. They're just chilling at 82,000. I mean, I think it actually, to their credit, I think it was 81,000 a few days ago. But still, like seriously, China, with almost 1.5 billion people in your country, you really only have that many infected? Come on now. Anyway, I mean, like you get them, and then you got the United States, the richest, the most powerful country on earth. The country that is really good at transitioning factories into making virtually anything we need. I mean, we learned this from World War II. I mean, like I've already mentioned in another video, that Allison's in Indianapolis, a company that makes Rolls-Royce engines, last I heard in high school, back around like 2001, 2002, they were doing monthly drills still, and they've been doing that since after World War II. That they would change their machines on a monthly basis. They would switch the machines from making car engines to making plane engines, and they were almost always at 2 minutes flat. The second fastest country in the world who's capable of doing that is Russia, and it took them 2 weeks to do that. So, I mean, the United States is really good about combating certain issues. Now, this is a whole new thing. We haven't had anything like this since 1917, 1918, Spanish flu, but with our numbers being the numbers they are, and China, I mean, come on. We're way better at China at what we do, but yeah, I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. So anyway, so that's the numbers we're looking at. Let me do a quick check for Florida. Actually, I'll just zoom in because I want to check Pinellas County. So actually here, I'll just check Florida. Okay, so it's right there, 4,246 confirmed cases. And in my county of Pinellas, it is 113 have been confirmed, so the number's gone up substantially since I've last checked this. 4 people, unfortunately, have died. 109 are active. And so far, I don't know why that's not going up yet, because the first 2 we had were at least 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? I think it was at least 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, I know it takes time to get, better, but I thought that once you catch coronavirus to the point where you're symptomatic, that it usually only took like a week or so before you started feeling better, but maybe they still technically have the virus, so nobody's actually been fully cleared yet. So yeah, and then the rest of the United States, let me just do a quick check for here for New York. It's already up here. 59,648 have been confirmed in New York. And that's the state, that's not the city, that's the whole state. So the numbers are getting bigger, obviously, much bigger, much quicker. So, all right. I know I hate to do this the second time, but I forgot to use the restroom, so I'll be back really quick. 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Okay. So anyway, I'm back now. So, I'm going to go ahead and get going as usual. Before I do, I'm going to grab this paper real quick because I did promise this. I promised it, so I'm going to give a little bit of information. Let me adjust my microphone a little bit because I'm leaning in toward the computer slightly. So, all right. So, Tampa Bay Times. Again, it is Sunday, March 29th, 2020. Dropped it off on my doorstep. $2. Well, they didn't drop it off at my doorstep nice and neatly folded. They chucked it in my front yard. But at least it was in a green bag, so it was still together. But yeah, it was very far from my front door. I don't have a very big yard. So, you can picture that as you will. So okay, so Florida cases increasing fast. And what I have here is that the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in Florida is doubling every 3 days. Let me go ahead and minimize this. I mean, I know it's not that that's much more pleasant to look at, but it's better than constantly being scared by such a high number. Anyway, so as you're admiring the beauty of this wonderful factory that's totally not polluting anything, I mean, it's producing an atmosphere that everybody can breathe from. Right. Okay. So the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in Florida is doubling every 3 days, putting the state on a trajectory that's to see tens of thousands of infections in the coming weeks, a Tampa Bay Times analysis shows. I guess I already have this up here. There you go. Why don't you take a look at some of the Tampa Bay Times pictures on Google. All right, so moving on. No rigorous model has been calculated for Florida to predict the disease's spread in detail. Those usually take months to create. But at this point, experts say the math is simple. The number of cases is already past the point of easy containment, and infections are growing faster and faster. At what statisticians, statisticians, I thought it was statisticians or whatever, the people that do statistics, infections are growing faster and faster at what people who do statistics call an exponential rate. Without dramatic steps, they worry that the epidemic will balloon across Florida and place an unprecedented strain on hospitals and health clinics. Thomas Haladish, a University of Florida research scientist who specializes in disease modeling and has been advising the state on the outbreak, said that while epidemiologists might disagree on the nuances of their projections, they all agree on the main point. We do understand the math and the models well enough to say with great confidence that Florida is going to have a huge public health crisis. And we are just at the beginning of it right now. By 11 o'clock a.m. Saturday, Florida had reported more than 3,700 cases, an increase of nearly 1,000 in 24 hours. Florida remains one of the few states with a large outbreak not to issue like a stay-at-home order. I think that's what it was, right? I mean, we already have like Pinellas County has a stay-at-home advisory or whatever it is they call it. Like, they're not going to arrest you or they're not going to give you a fine if they catch you out, but they're just like strongly encouraging you to stay home, and that's essentially what the governor hasn't done statewide. And I am a critic of that too. I think the whole state should be doing this. But that's it. That's all I have for that particular article. I mean, it continues on 16A, but with all this stuff, yeah, it's way too long. 16A, yeah, that's gonna be like another 5 minutes of reading. So you get the gist of it. I mean, they usually with newspapers, they usually keep the most important part on the front page because they want you to buy it. And then they just leave all the whatever, like what did I spend my money on the back page. So anyway, let me see what I got here. Pinellas County posts 3 more deaths. Three. I mean, 3 is tragic. It really is. I mean, anybody who dies from this, it's a tragedy. But I mean, I guess if you want to compare the number 3 to 980,000, and I know the number's going to go up. It's going to go up everywhere. But I mean, the best thing we can hope for is that our youth can get through this, and the vast amount of the population can get through this as best as they can, and we can get this vaccine going as soon as possible. This is definitely not something to downplay at all. I mean, this really, truly scares me. If you've been following my videos, it's the economy that I'm really worried about. I mean, I know human life is more important than money, but when it comes to something like this, if you grind the economy to a halt and you put everything on hold, and companies lose money and they eventually go bankrupt because they're not making anything. They're just spending money on their real estate, on their rent, on their mortgage, or whatever it is that they're spending their money on, holding down on the supply. I mean, if you grind the country to a halt, the economy is going to drop sharply and very quickly. If the government keeps pumping money into the system to try to keep everything afloat, that's when inflation starts to get out of control because nobody's working. If nobody's working, then the money gets devalued like crazy because your work that you physically do on the job translates to money. That's the way this whole country functions. And I mean, like a human life is definitely the most important thing, because what good is it as is an economy if there's nobody alive to, to bring it back to where it was? I understand that, but I think by grinding the economy to a halt just so we can ride out this wave of the coronavirus pandemic, I don't think that's feasible. I don't think it is. I think that no matter what, we're going to lose the same amount of people, if not more, if we keep the economy ground to a halt. And by the time that we're out of this mess, we're going to have no economy to come back to, or it's going to be in shambles, and we're all going to be dirt poor. We're all going to be super hungry because there's no business left to deliver anything. And yeah, you might have saved a lot of lives, but at what cost? It would be at the cost of destroying everything the United States has been trying to build up for the last 230 plus years. And I don't know. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. I mean, you might be shaking your head and screaming at your screen or whatever when you're seeing this, but that's just my own personal belief. And I think that stopping the economy like this is only going to make things worse. Like I've said, that the best thing that I think what we can do is to just throw our hands up. We cannot hold back a tide, because the tide cannot be held back, period, which the coronavirus clearly is. I mean, look at this. Like we're 90% of the people who were surveyed that the president mentioned said that they were practicing social distancing and they were staying at home as much as humanly possible. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. We're up over 130,000 people who are infected in the United States. Okay. It's probably 140,000 people are infected in the United States. It's growing exponentially faster and faster. Look at the graph. And that's probably a worldwide number. But my point is that we're practicing all this social distancing stuff. We're trying to mitigate it. We have all of our businesses shut down. The economy has stopped more or less in large swaths of the areas. And we're not, I mean, yes, if we just threw up our hands, I'm sure the numbers would grow faster, because, but I honestly think that we're just holding back something that's inevitable. I think that whether we stop the economy or we don't, we're going to see the maximum numbers. All I think we're doing is we're just delaying what's going to end up coming. And I don't want to scare anybody, but I just don't want to see this country turn into a third world country with everything we've dealt with, everything from the Revolutionary War to the Civil War, or can't skip War of 1812 because that was still important. I mean, like, what was it called? Like the Spanish American War, I think is what it was, like with the Alamo. I'm sorry if I didn't get that right. My apologies. But World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War, and everything in between. With all that stuff that we've done, all the sacrifice for this country that we've made to keep it going. And that's not even including like all the innovation and all the industry and everything that we've done throughout the 1800s and the 1900s. I mean, just incredible. And to have built up this country as great as it is right now, to be the leader of the free world. Like when we won World War II, we could have replaced Nazi Germany. We could have been like, all right, well, the United States, we won. We've got nuclear weapons. We're just going to, you're going to be an American follower. We're large and in charge. It's going to be like Hunger Games around here. We're the capital, and your District 1, your District 12, your District 4, this, that, and the other, point to all these countries. We're running the show now. But no, we didn't do that, did we? No. For the majority of the world, we said, everybody just go home, all right? We showed up, we kicked ass, and it's over, okay? Germany's done. It's over. Japan is done. Italy is done. Now let's go back home, all right? We'll deal with all those situations, with our ally friends, but, to the vast majority of the world, let's just go home, all right? Let's just do the best we can to rebuild what this nightmare that we dealt with, really was. I don't know, but I mean, the United States had every ability to take like a really strong authoritarian hammer to the entire world once we won World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Japan. But we didn't do that. We didn't. We could have. We had the ultimate bomb. We had a bomb that could destroy the city in just one single drop, an entire city. But I don't know. And all of that, like everything that we've worked for throughout the history of this country, we could potentially lose by grinding this economy. Because if this economy falls, the dollar collapses, the whole world is going to suffer, just as bad, if not worse than we're going to suffer for, which is still going to be really substantial. And by the looks of it, looks like the only country that's probably going to come out of that is China. I'm just saying. I think that, I don't know, man. And you know what? Maybe the president's doing the right thing because I'm ill-informed. I just see what I see, and I just use my personal judgment. So maybe that's not the right answer. I mean, if you think I'm wrong, definitely let me know in the comments, and please tell me why I'm wrong, because I'm sure I'm not seeing certain things that I should be seeing. But I just think that halting the economy like this is just, I mean, I think it's not only just as bad as the virus itself. I think it's worse long term. I mean, we could get the vaccine out in a few years, but this economy could be, devastatingly bad, like on the verge of third world, maybe 40 years from now, for all we know. We don't know. But anyway, hopefully it won't be that. I mean, hopefully maybe the Fed is a lot more relevant and capable than I think they are. Same with the Treasury Department. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, let me go ahead and get into these articles. Here, real quick, there's only one other thing that I wanted to say. Pinellas County posts 3 more deaths. The total number of cases in the state has exceeded 4,000, which I've already read. Across Florida, 56 people have died. Very unfortunate. It really is. 56 people. That's a lot of people. Nationwide, it's much worse. The smaller, the better. I mean, the best way that I can share condolences with those who have lost those people. I mean, I really do feel for them because it could happen to anybody. My grandma, she lives in Indianapolis right now. She's retired. She's got a friend that she's gone to Walmart with her a couple of times in the last 2 weeks, and I thought she was freaking insane for doing that. Everybody should be staying away from grandma. Everybody. Because somebody who has coronavirus that might not even know they have it might give it to her, and I'm going to lose my grandma forever. So, trust me, these people that are dying from this, I mean, I'm sure it's an immense tragedy for every single person who's dying here. It's no joke. I mean, it's not something just to breeze through as you're reading something. I mean, you got to stop and just, even if it's 56, I mean, like the mainstream media, they like to try to maximize the worst of everything. And something like the number 56 deaths from coronavirus, they'd probably be like, no, run that on the back page. 56, are you freaking kidding me? No. We're like, where's the 1,000 deaths? Where's the 2,000 deaths? Run that stuff front page. We want doom and gloom. We want craziness. That's what gets us clicks. That's what gets us, like newspaper subscribers and all that stuff. I mean, it's all bullshit. I hate the fake news media. I mean, I don't know how good the Tampa Bay Times is, but I'm sure it's definitely liberal. I'm sure it is. They all are. I don't think there is a conservative newspaper that's being circulated anywhere. Let me know if there is. I mean, I might even subscribe to it. Let's see. The Pinellas deaths included an 83-year-old woman, a 64-year-old man, and a 52-year-old man. The younger man's death was travel-related, according to the state. He recently visited Bulgaria, Germany, and Utah. The other 2 deaths were not travel-related, and that's all I have for that one. The only other thing I wanted to mention, which I think I covered before, but just in case I didn't, the stimulus checks are coming for most people. At the center of the new $2 trillion economic stimulus package are direct payments that will put money into the wallets of most Americans. What will you be getting? Let's see on page 6A. I don't want to because I know this is going to be really drawn out. I think I've already talked about that. Like if you make $75,000 or less, you're going to get $1,200. I think it's just going to be a bunch of that. Yep, basically, more or less. Newspaper, folks. I mean, you listening to this, when was the last time you felt a newspaper, especially a Sunday paper in your hands? Like a newspaper with weight to it. It has a lot of pages to sift through. I love newspapers. I mean, I don't like the content that they usually put in them, but it just feels cool to hold a newspaper, just smelling the ink. Like you can definitely tell how avid of a newspaper reader you are by the time when you put the newspaper down. How black are your fingers? If you barely see like any discoloration in your fingers at all, then you haven't read nearly enough of it. But if you sat there and you read every single page of that newspaper, or at least you skimmed through every page, your fingers are going to have a couple of black spots from the ink. At least I think so. I mean, that's the way it used to be. I mean, are newspapers still like that? I think they are. Oh, well, not really. At least this one's not. I'm rubbing my fingers across the words. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe they've reformulated these things. Because it used to be like yeah, it's still doing it a little bit. Not nearly as much as it used to. I mean, back in the day, like 15 plus years ago, you hold a newspaper, like if you take your hand and you rub it across it a few times, your hand turned black. It's not really doing that anymore. Wow, that's cool. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let me go ahead and get into some of these articles here. I did pull up this picture, and in case you're wondering what this is, I mean, I've already highlighted this, so you probably know by now if you read ahead, but a temporary hospital is set up at the Jacob K. Javits Center on March 27th, 2020 in New York. Apologize if I said that wrong, but and in Chicago, which this thing was talking about Chicago. The Army Corps of Engineers converts convention center in Chicago into hospital to brace for the pandemic. But this is not in Chicago. This is actually in New York, it looks like, by Getty Images. So I think the Army Corps of Engineers has been very secretive with exactly what it looks like that they're setting up. And it's probably not to cause a panic because, you know, if you see the overall picture and if you see like 2,000 beds in a building in New York that you're familiar with seeing, it might freak you out and you're like, oh my God, man, this thing is going to get really bad. And it will get really bad. And it's getting bad right now. But I think, especially if you're familiar with this convention center, I'm not because I've never been to New York, but if you're familiar with it, especially if you've been there more than one time, you probably can understand like the depth perception in this image. So you might be able to get a good idea as to how many rows of these there really are. Because I'm sure the person that took this picture, they either have their back against the opposite wall from that one, or maybe they're like up against the like the next row of beds, and they're just taking that picture from there. But I assume their back's against the wall. I assume they're trying to maximize like how far this roof will actually travel to. That looks like a lot of beds, but look how they did this. Look at this. They have an end table. They have like a little plant there, and they have these cool looking lamps. I mean, you know, not some pretty good looking digs, to be honest. I mean, you get a little table, you get a little first aid kit, you get an extra chair that somebody can chill with you. I don't know if it's only meant for a doctor. If you might be able, I doubt you can have a visitor, right? Because if you're infected, but you know what I mean. You can have privacy, close the curtains. I mean, that's actually, you know, it's kind of comforting because if you look at the old school pictures during the Spanish flu, all they had was a cot. They had no cubicle style separation in between beds. They didn't have any of that. They just had a bed and then another bed, and that's the way it was. And a lot of people died that way. I mean, this is actually awesome. I mean, like if the Army Corps of Engineers set this up, then holy crap, man, you got to give them huge props for that. Plus, they run electricity to every single section here, at least with the lamps. I'm sure that they probably have electricity for defibrillator, not defibrillators, but to respirators, things like that. But anyway, I wasn't going to read this article. I just wanted to point that out, that I found that's the only picture that I've been able to find so far that actually shows the scale of what we might be looking at in terms of the Army Corps of Engineers building, beds and rooms in these big facilities, which I'm sure are going to go nationwide. But that's a convention center. So I've been to the Tampa Convention Center a few times. I think I've been to the Indianapolis one once or twice. But the Tampa one's the one that I know of, and I've gone to a couple of the car conventions. Like I think it's in January when they're rolling out like this year's whatever. I think I went to like 2013, and then I went to maybe 2015, something like that. But it's cool. You get to sit in any new car you want, which is a terrible idea in this situation because of coronavirus. But man, it's crazy. I mean, our way of life has changed so much. I mean, do you think that... Well, I think it's too soon to ask that question. I mean, like when I went to that car convention, there were like 200, 300, 400 cars, different cars. Even Lamborghini showed up for this. They even had a couple of cars. You couldn't sit in them, of course. I mean, they had them roped off, but they had them on display. But they had all of these dealers or all of these car manufacturers that brought all these cars, all their new makes and models, all the SUVs and the pickup trucks and the sports cars and the coupes and the sedans and everything that crossovers and all that, hatchbacks. And you could open up the door and you could sit in the car and feel the wheel and like play with the buttons and stuff. And it was really cool. But I don't know, man. I think a month from now, to propose that to the American public, like pretending that coronavirus suddenly just disappeared, I don't think anybody would be willing to do that. I mean, everybody would be constantly sanitizing all the time. So I think that this is going to be a long-term thing. I think when it comes to something like a museum or a kids museum or something like where there's a lot of hands-on stuff with the public involved, like crowds of people, I mean, I think we're going to get really paranoid over this. And we should. I think we should. It's not good for your immune system. You got to get sick. I'm not saying coronavirus because that's a novel virus. We don't have any cure for that. We don't have any way to save you from it if it's going to kill you. But when it comes to the common cold, I mean, that's what I heard. I heard that everybody, and this is only what I've heard, that you should get the common cold, at least once a year. Maybe it's once every couple of years, because the more your immune system gets attacked with, not all at once, but like one cold here, one cold there, they build up antibodies for that. They build up an immunity to that cold you get. Because I've heard there's like 150, 200, maybe 300 different rhinoviruses that are out there, colds, mutating into different forms and whatnot. And so you catch a cold, and then once you get over the cold, you can't catch that exact same cold again because your body built up an immunity to it. That's as far as what I understand. But if you don't ever catch a cold, if you're an OCD neat freak and you never get sick because you absolutely refuse to allow your hands to, get a little bit dirty, and if you're going to behave like that for 15, 20, 30 years, then you might get a simple cold that will kill you within a day or two because your immune system is just so susceptible. I mean, like, go back to the indigenous people of the Americas, the Native Americans or whatever. When we first came over hundreds of years ago, not like we as in like Europeans, like European settlers or whatever, they brought a lot of diseases with them that the natives here had no immune system for it. Their immune system was, I'm sure they were prepared to combat the colds that they were dealing with in their situation. But when we came over, we as in like the modern, not modern, but like the Europeans came over. I mean, like my family's from Germany. They came over. It was before the Revolutionary War, but it was almost around then. I think it was during then when my first ancestor showed up here. But they didn't have an immunity to any of that. So if you're an OCD type person, and if you don't get a cold for 20 years because you've been keeping your hands clean and your face clean and you haven't been touching anything for 20 years, and if you accidentally inhale a virus, like if it's strep throat or something, that might very well kill you because your immune system is not, it doesn't have the arsenal that the average person's immunity system would have, like somebody who catches a cold once a year, maybe once every other year. You build all that up over time. Not saying that your immune system can take on coronavirus necessarily, because that's a whole different thing, but we don't know. Maybe it could. Maybe if you've dealt with, I don't know, like 30 colds in your life and you're 32 years old, maybe you'll get through coronavirus asymptomatic, maybe because your immune system's dealt with 30 colds already. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but anyway. See, here I go blabbering again. Wasting time. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let's get in here. Here, let me start with the Dow Jones here. No, I'm not going into the Dow Jones because it's Sunday. It hasn't moved since yesterday. So I'm going to start with local, Florida, Pinellas. Coronavirus. Pinellas deputies and police deliver notices to thousands of businesses. The Safer at Home order applies to all cities and unincorporated areas of Pinellas County. It starts Thursday at noon. Let me see when this was published here. Oh, look at that. It's a coincidence. Tampa Bay Times. They gave me a free newspaper today. That's pretty cool. Published on March 26th. So that was the day of. So they're posting these flyers, I guess, on all these businesses around the county, just making it known that you're safer at home than you are going into this building. Let's see here. As Pinellas County's Safer at Home order started Thursday, more than 200 deputies and police officers began delivering thousands of notices to businesses and a message and a warning about keeping distance between customers and employees during the coronavirus pandemic. The notices say people shall not congregate in groups, and groups of more than 10 are prohibited. In addition, people are not part of the same family must remain at least 6 feet apart, and people in lines must adhere to that requirement. Businesses must post the notices in doorways. The notice comes with a warning. Violation of these requirements is a crime punishable by incarceration and/or a fine. Businesses in violation may be subject to closure. Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri, I almost got his name right. I've heard it many times. Gualtieri. Sheriff Bob Gualtieri said the key to enforcing the measure is to educate residents about the dangers of spreading the virus. He called it a health crisis of significant impact and said commissioners took bold action to balance the needs of people who need paychecks to feed families. If gatherings and large crowds don't decrease in the county, he warned that commissioners could shut everything down. Quote, make no mistake, we are not playing around with this, Gualtieri said Thursday at a Clearwater shopping center. This is very serious. We need all these business owners to help us help them. If you don't keep that distance and keep that space, then it could get worse. So if it's happening here, folks, it's probably happening everywhere. I'm sure that you might be getting similar stories in your neck of the woods, wherever you might live in the country. I think that's a very good thing. Especially if it's yellow. I would prefer it to be hot pink because that would be even more noticeable, but, people might not read it because it might be, hard on your eyes, looking at pink, especially this time of year because we're like no clouds in the sky for like a month. It's like wall-to-wall sunshine, so it's super bright, especially during the springtime. April's our driest month of the year. It sucks. I love rain. I love storms. I love thunderstorms. The summertime, we get hit relentlessly every day with heavy thunderstorms. I cannot wait until June rolls up. But, in terms of this pandemic we're dealing with, I'm a little afraid to say that. But every year I always look forward to June through September. At the end of September, that's when I get bummed out because all the storms go away. Sea breeze, the sea breeze thunderstorms. I was trying to remember. I kept thinking Gulf, but no, it's like when the sea breeze comes in to land from the Gulf, and the air mass it's almost like a mini high pressure system goes into the land area, and then it combines with the Atlantic sea breeze. It's like, I don't know. It's like throughout the day, like the ground heats, but like the cool air that's coming off of both of the bodies of water, they kind of collide in the middle of the state, and they produce these insane thunderstorms. It's really cool. And depending on which way the wind is blowing, sometimes every day that I always hope for that it'll sweep across Pinellas County and just, drop tons of lightning, thunder, and rain and all that. And then it will sweep off into the Gulf and just kind of fade out by 10 o'clock at night. Love it. Anyway, let me go to the next article here. Let's see. Add this one. Where number 4 went, but what's inside the Senate's $2 trillion coronavirus aid package? I should have done this a few days ago, but I just found this today. So this will give you an actual visual perspective as to what we're looking at when it comes to this $2 trillion package. And you can see for yourself. And actually, I'm going to take a quick sip to wet my whistle while you look at that. So, first thing I saw was the tiny dot, and it says $26 billion, which is an insane number. And that's the smallest one. But public health, state and local governments, individuals, small businesses, big corporations, education, and other. I won't go through all this because it will take a lot of time. But if you want to know what specifically is happening with this $2 trillion package, it is on NPR.org. And I just to find it quicker, I would probably just type out the whole thing. What's inside the Senate $2 trillion coronavirus aid package? Basically just going with that. But I know I should be plugging the stuff in the description. I apologize for that. But yeah, so it starts with individuals, 560 billion. It goes down into the specifics. And then it goes into small businesses, and they're actually showing you the dot that was on the overall picture up above. And big businesses, and it's going through all the stuff. Airlines, stock buyback plan, reporting requirements, oversight. I don't know what no benefit for Trump means, but all businesses, public health, hospitals. I cannot believe that hospitals got such a small. Well, no, I do believe that because of so many millions and millions of people are out of work right now. Scary people. Safety net. Very tiny safety net. I don't know. I don't know what to make of all this. I mean, like, any of this is just, it's just scary. You know, being a conservative, it's just very scary because we're already 23 trillion in debt, I think now. Now this is gonna jack us up to, well, that would be 25 trillion, but they're saying like all three waves of this combines to $6 trillion. So I don't know, 29, almost $30 trillion in debt. It's pretty frightening. Let's see here. That was 5, right? Let's go to number 6 here. See if I can get through this. Oh my God, it's 9:30. This is insane, right? France has ordered over 1 billion face masks. Most of them are from China, which I guess I can understand because China's good at making stuff quickly. But, you know, I'm sorry about all this, like, advertising click crap. Clearly, see, my ad block is off. It's got the green check mark, which means ads are okay. So there's some of these things that just floods with ads, and I only do that because they don't let me read it unless I turn it off. So my apologies, but at least this article is really short. France has ordered more than 1 billion face masks, the vast majority from China, the country's health minister said on Saturday, as the government scrambles to build up its supplies with the coronavirus outbreak showing no sign of easing. Health Minister Olivier Véran said France was using 40 million face masks weekly as it battles the pandemic and currently has 3 weeks worth of supplies. Doctors, nursing home centers, I'll just go with centers. Doctors, nursing home centers, the police, and other frontline staff have decried a shortage of masks. That's just France, folks. That's just France. I'm glad I still have this up. Where are we looking at with France? Look at this. They're 6th down on the list. They have 40,000 confirmed infections of coronavirus. That doesn't even include Germany, Spain, China, Italy. Well, China, whatever. I'm sick of China. They're the ones that started this whole stupid mess with their wet markets and all that crap. You know, putting bat cages on top of ferret cages and all that crap. They're the ones that are responsible for all this. But anyway, like Italy, for example. I mean, you know, France ordered 1 billion masks, but you know, compared to the United States, they're 100,000 infected less than we are, at least confirmed. So, but I think that we're largely going to take care of our own. I think that President Trump is not wanting to rely on China to get N95 masks. Plus, China's really good at making like substandard stuff. So, at least in the United States, we can produce our own material, and I hope that it will be adequate in terms of quantity. But we'll have to just see. I think we will. I mean, the United States is a very large country, and it's a very vastly diverse country. You know, we've got deserts down here, and we've got the taiga up here, if you remember your regions, the plains, and the temperate forest area here, and the subtropical area down here. So, you know, like it's a very, you know, naturally diverse place. So, I mean, we're very capable of churning out tons of natural resources. So hopefully we'll be able, at least for N95 masks, we'll be able to keep up our own production and not have to rely on other countries, because frankly, I don't think we can. Because every other country, 177 countries out of 192 countries on Earth have coronavirus. So I think it like you're on your own kind of situation. And France, I guess they ordered them from China. I wouldn't really rely on the quality of that, but you know, France, they'll do whatever they need to do. But, you know, if they're dealing with using 40 million face masks every week, is that really their number, 40,000 infected? I mean, is there something that they're not telling us now? I don't know. But scary stuff, folks. It really is, man. And I'm not doing this to scare you. I'm just showing you what's going on out there. I mean, it's just what's happening. And this came from nationthailand.com. I know it's an obscure website, but Tokyo eyes the use of Olympic Village for virus cases. And so Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike said on Friday that the government is considering using the Olympic Village in Tokyo as a place for patients with milder cases of illness caused by the coronavirus to stay. During the Olympics and Paralympics, about 18,000 people, including athletes, are expected to stay in the roughly 3,800 units across 21 buildings in the village in the Harami district of Cho Ward. After the games, some units will be sold as apartments. Tokyo started to consider using the village because the number of infected people with unknown transmission routes is increasing in the capital. With a population of over 13 million people in the capital, in the worst case scenario, it is estimated there would be about 45,400 new outpatients per day, according to a formula compiled by the Health, Labor, and Welfare Ministry. So, yeah, and I don't know exactly where it is. I assume it's probably these buildings around here, maybe? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of like center in the photograph. So, um, I mean, they should, because the Olympics has been postponed until 2021. So all of these buildings are going to be vacant. They might as well do it. And if they're worried about infecting people in the future, well, then just close them off, because isn't coronavirus only supposed to last up to 3 days? I think in some cases it might be up to 5 days on certain surfaces and whatnot. So, just let the virus die on the surfaces and then go through and just disinfect to be sure. But I mean, they're not going to be using these facilities for a year, so why not do that? Sorry, I know that was too close to the mic. All right, so let's see here. We're getting close. I think this might be the last one. Or did I already click on that? No, dailymail.co.uk. Okay, so this came from Drudge Report. From my good friend, I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names, but going back to Brian Metris, who gave the drop of the mentioning of the Drudge Report. Awesome, dude. Really cool, because this came straight from the Drudge Report. The 26-foot sneeze zone coronavirus social distancing limit is at least 4 times too short because infectious droplets can fly much further than current 6-foot restriction, study warns. And yes, you want to talk about clickbait media. My God, look at this. I mean, it's all of this here. See, look at this. I had to highlight this in bright green. So I've shown you this before. Like if I choose yellow, it's kind of hard on the eyes. If I choose green, that's kind of hard on the eyes when there's a lot of text. But in this circumstance, there's so much clickbait crap on this website that I have to use like the most extreme, jump off the page color to try to find the actual story. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, dailymail.co.uk, dude, I mean, this is exactly like the very definition of clickbait media. My God. Anyway, I just had to make that apparent. All right. I don't know if this will make any difference. Maybe I can just shorten this a little bit. Maybe try to squeeze some of this crap off the sides here and maybe get straight to the point. Oh my God. Okay. Here we go. The UK's coronavirus social distancing limit is at least 4 times too short, a study has warned. The public are currently being asked to keep a distance from each other of at least 6 feet 6 inches. But a new study by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, suggests the gap should be 4 times bigger at around 26 feet. The study, which was reported by The Telegraph, found that viral droplets expelled in coughs and sneezes can travel in a moist, warm atmosphere at speeds of between 33 and 100 feet per second, 10 meters to 100 meters. And yeah, that's actually true. There was a little bit more of it, but I didn't want to keep at it. But I don't know if this is going to. Well, let's see here. This creates a cloud within the atmosphere that can span approximately 23 feet to 27 feet, 7 meters to 8 meters to neighboring people. It has also been warned that droplets, which contribute to the rapid spread of COVID-19, can remain suspended in the air for several hours. I don't know about several. I heard 3. But is that, like fake news media at its finest, or, trying to dramatize the numbers, or is that legit? I mean, with all the reading that I've done, it's 3 hours. That's what I've heard. It can hang in the air for up to 3 hours. And these are droplets, people, droplets. That's the only thing that the virus can hang on that they know of. Like when somebody coughs into the air, the droplets are coming out of your lungs, out of your windpipe, out of your throat, out of your mouth. And droplets, they have gravitational weight. It's not like they can just sit there and just hang in the air for hours and hours. No, like even a droplet, it's like a little tiny microscopic sized raindrop. It's going to sink to the ground. You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to hang in the air for hours and hours and hours, because even a little tiny droplet from your lungs, it still has gravitational weight. It still has the gravity of the entire Earth pulling against it. It's going to come down. I know it has some air resistance because of how small it is, but it's not like it's just going to hang in the air for an indefinite period of time. Maybe if you have ceiling fans like in my room, like maybe that might spin them up so they might, circulate around a little bit, but I don't know. I'm just saying. Let's see here. And the direction can easily be changed by air ventilation systems to create turbulent clouds of air. Yeah, exactly, like my ceiling fan. Okay, I get that. Many people are now finding themselves in close quarters with others on a daily basis, with supermarkets still feeling the effects of mass panic buying of products. In London, despite persistent calls from the government for only essential workers to continue with the morning commute, images have revealed packed carriages on the London Underground. I assume that's probably the subway system. The authors of the MIT study offered further clarity on their findings and detailed why social distancing needs to be increased within the Journal of the American Medical Association. Oh man, look at that, man. That dude's got like a full-on gas mask. That looks like Avatar. It really does, doesn't it? That looks like the Avatar mask, like when he's suffocating and he's trying to grab it because that military douchebag with that big suit and what's her name, like the Avatar chick, like hit him with a couple arrows and he fell down and he smashed that glass, and like Jake is trying to grab that mask up there and then he just suffocates in the air. It looks like the same mask. I don't know where the hell he got that from, but dude, that's overkill. Maybe it's not though. Maybe he's got it nailed down. And then you get these masks like that. I mean, that's the masks that we're producing by the millions, and I think that's what France ordered from China, like a billion face masks. Now there's a difference between a face mask and a respirator. Hold on, not a respirator. Is it a respirator? I'm trying to think what it was called. Yeah, I think it's a respirator. My apologies if I have the word wrong, but like the N95 masks that you use, like if you're gonna paint your bedroom or something like that, like those kind of masks, I think those are called respirator masks. But anyway, so there's a little bit more here. Okay, so look, see, it's buried, but there's still a little bit more here. These distances are based on estimates of range that have not considered the possible presence of a high momentum cloud carrying the droplets long distances, they said. Given the turbulent puff cloud dynamic model, recommendations for separations of 3 feet to 6 feet, 1 meter to 2 meters if you're not in the United States, may underestimate the distance, timescale, and persistence over which the cloud and its pathogenic payload travel, thus generating an underappreciated potential exposure range for a healthcare worker. For these and other reasons, wearing of appropriate personal protection equipment is vitally important for healthcare workers caring for patients who may be infected, even if they are farther than 6 feet away from a patient. And they might be right on that. They really might be. I mean, because I remember, it does continue. So, but I do remember back in, I think it was middle school or something, like we did a test. Like we used like a really light sheet of paper or something, and I can vaguely remember this, but like we had to try to mimic a sneeze, like and like just try our best to do that. And we used like this really lightweight piece of like tissue paper, really. And we didn't hold it like one hand on the top, one hand on the bottom. We just like held it up with one hand up. And like if you sneezed at its direction and we stood like 20 feet away, like how many seconds would go by before that piece of paper would move? And it's crazy. It was like almost instantaneous. I mean, it's weird. But when you sneeze, especially if you sneeze forward and you don't sneeze down, if you sneeze forward, like that sneeze travels really far, really fast. And I absolutely believe that it's more than 6 feet. For sure, it's more than 6 feet. So if somebody has like a congested sneeze, like if they might have coronavirus and it's built up with phlegm, and they give one of those crazy like like a spray sneeze, I guess. I know it's disgusting to think of, but if they do that forward, I mean, yes. I mean, I can't remember what it was. Like how, let me see if I can look that up. I want to say it's like 500 miles an hour or whatever, but there's like a speed at which you sneeze, like the speed at which, like when you instantly sneeze, like the speed at which any particles leaving your mouth travel into the air. And it's crazy. Like, let me see if I can find this. How fast do you sneeze? Oh, this stupid, 40 miles an hour. Okay, I was way off if that's true. I hate the stupid Bing crap. I freaking hate Bing. This is stupid, stupid, like ad block crap. I know that's what it's doing because I turned it off. See, look, you see how it took me to Bing? Let me turn it off here. Tools, extensions. Here it is, add skill. No, I don't remove it yet. Let me just turn it off. Just turn it off. All right, so it's off. All right, right? All right, so let's do this again. How fast you sneeze. See, it's Google now. It's not freaking Bing anymore. Now it's Google. It's because of that stupid ad block crap that I have on there. I like Google better. I think everybody likes Google better. Okay, sneezes are speedy. Sneezes can travel at about 100 miles an hour. So Bing was trying to tell us, what, 40 miles an hour? Now Google's telling us 100 miles an hour. But WebMD, which I respect, and WebMD, I would take their advice. What was the last one? Unrealfacts.com/how fast a sneeze comes out. I think I would believe WebMD over unrealfacts.com. Unreal facts? Like, does that mean your facts are not real? I think so, but yeah, so there you go. She adds that a single sneeze can send 100,000 germs into the air. Dude, that is nasty. Oh my God, dude, look at these pictures. Holy crap. There you go. Okay, there you go. I mean, I don't know if he had his mouth loaded up with water or if he just has like a common cold, and there you go. But that is freaking disgusting. So sneezes can travel over 75 miles an hour. I'm just saying, you know, if somebody sneezes at you, I don't know, like turn your clothes inside out, and like I guess you got to pray that you have a tank top on underneath and like boxer shorts that don't reveal anything. But I mean, if somebody sneezed that crap at me, holy crap, especially if in this situation with coronavirus, I don't know, people, you got to get creative. I mean, I'm saying that if you're going to be in a crowded area, if you're going to go to the grocery store, this, that, and the other, do what I'm doing at the very minimum. I'm sure you have a way better idea. Like the guy with the avatar mask, he's got it going on. But at least cover your hair, cover your head, cover your arms, your legs, you know, with a long sleeve shirt, long pants. When you come home, before you go inside, use sanitary wipes to wipe off your shoes. I mean, like, do anything and everything you can to keep that virus from getting in your house, because, I mean, that's what it looks like when people sneeze when they're sick. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, imagine that coronavirus. Oh my God. I know it's not. I mean, I'm sure this is probably years old, but that looks totally fake. That's probably totally fake. I don't know. It probably is, but you know, I'm sure that they magnified what was microscopic, and that's probably like, you know, if you're looking at this through like a microscope, that's probably really the extent of where coronavirus is going. I mean, it's not good. But yeah, some crazy stuff, man. Really crazy. So yeah, when you sneeze 100 miles an hour, if that's true, or even if you sneeze 40 miles an hour, let's take the low number. If you sneeze at 40 miles an hour, you really think 6 feet is the maximum distance that's going to go? I'm not saying that when you sneeze in an hour from now, it's going to be 40 miles away. I mean, come on, that's stupid. There's air resistance. I mean, come on, use common sense. I mean, everybody knows that, right? I mean, if you sneeze into the air, like the actual air, I mean, you wave your hand in the air, you can feel the resistance of the air, even if you wave your hand back and forth. So when you sneeze into the air, it's going to very quickly slow down, but I think it's going to go farther than 6 feet if it's leaving your mouth at 40 miles an hour. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds right to me. I think 6 feet's too short. Honestly, I wouldn't go around anybody right now, to be honest with you. You got to protect your family. Stay away from everybody. So anyway, that's the article that I have for that. Thank you for the Drudge report. That was awesome. Another shout out to Brian Metris. Very cool. I'm done with all that information, but yeah, that's cool, man. Like, if you give me a cool comment on YouTube, I'll totally give you a shout out. I mean, I'm not doing it just because you left a comment. I just thought it was relevant to bring up, just to show you that, you know, if it's worth talking about, I'm going to talk about it, especially with Drudge Report. I mean, dude, you call it out perfect. And Drudge Report should have been on my radar from the get-go, but it just wasn't. It was in years past, but I just, you know, it just slipped my mind. And this coronavirus thing came out of nowhere a couple of months ago, and, you know, I try to stay center of everything. And so I went to Google and I'm like, wow, this is all a bunch of left-wing stuff. So, I got to try to catch up with the other side to try to bring things center. And speaking of which, I didn't do anything for Fox, did I? Before I get going here, let me do this real quick. Let's see what we got here going. Oh yeah, the concert. Anybody out there watching that? Well, I mean, you're not listening or watching this video right now, but I wonder if anybody actually saw this. Like, apparently that's going to get like tons of people watching. Like, I don't know, like how many people are actually going to watch this? Like 30 million, 40 million, 50 million people? I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, it's nice what they're doing, but how much is Fox paying them for? I mean, they're not doing this for free, really. Or maybe they are. I mean, maybe I'm just ignorant and stupid, and maybe I just see the worst in every celebrity that has ever hit stardom. But Elton John, Mariah Carey, and more on Fox Presents the iHeart Living Room Concert for America. I think that's happening right now. It's 9:45 p.m. I mean, they got the play button here. Let me see what they got going on right now. I mean, maybe it will take me straight there. Come on, Fox News. Sorry, I've got... Hold on. Whatever. I'm not doing this. Nope. Sorry. I know he means well. I know it's, it's all good and everything, but I don't have everything hooked up for sound. I mean, I guess I could come here and just like increase the desktop audio, but you know what? That's going to trigger YouTube to take down my video instantly with Fox, giving me a copyright strike. So I don't want to go into all that. If you're unfamiliar with that, start watching Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan has an awesome podcast, and they go through that almost every single episode. Like, they want to show something, but Jamie always says, no, we'll get pulled from YouTube if we play the video. But anyway, that's the one I watched. He gave the speech from the Rose Garden today, Sunday. Trump says coronavirus peak and death rate likely in this amount of time. And it's short. It's sometime in the month of April. That's all I really got to say. It's like the middle of April or something like that. Maybe the end of April. I think that's really what it was. Like, the end of April is when we're supposed to see the peak. I mean, the president's supposed to calm everybody. No panic. No whatever. This, that, and the other. I think that's too soon, to be honest with you. You heard it here first, if that's true. Not that I would ever want to, take credit for that, but no, I think that there's a reason why the government gave out 4 months worth of unemployment. I think this is more than a 4-month issue. And I think that the economists and the doctors and everybody got together and they said, look, like, the very, very best situation that we've got here is 4 months from now, where people can actually go into a restaurant again. That's like very best case scenario. Man. And now they're talking about waves going back up. Like, this one might peak in the middle of April, and it'll start going down because we're all trying to quarantine. It might go down by the end of May, and it might bottom off, but coronavirus is still lingering around, so they open up all the restaurants in certain parts of the country, and then it starts to shoot right back up again. I mean, I think that's definitely, I'm sure that's plausible. That's probably going to happen all the way up until they find a vaccine for this. But anyway, let me try to wrap it up here real quick. Let me just pause it for a second. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm back, and I just needed a minute. I had to go refill my cup. So, Fox News, they're not really showing anything that's crazy significant. Trump set an example for the world in mitigating coronavirus. UN diplomat, very Fox News-ish. Crenshaw blasts Hillary Clinton's shot at Trump during coronavirus crisis. Of course, Hillary Clinton, as evil as she is, I'm sorry if you have respect for her, but I totally don't. She's a complete corrupt politician to the max. Italian man 33 has advice after getting virus despite being otherwise healthy. That's kind of scary. I kind of want to click on that, to be honest with you, because he's younger than I am. I'm 35. He looks a little heavy set, though. I will say that, though. He doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in the face. I mean, I know Italians. Come on, man. All right, I guess I got to turn down my speakers then. Freaking stupid Fox News. Come on, man. 33-year-old Italian man is opening up on how he tested positive for the coronavirus despite being in top physical shape and maintaining a strict workout routine. Okay, well, he's ahead of me on that one. I do yoga every morning. I do my 20, well, now I'm up to like almost 30 minutes of yoga. because I have a busted back, herniated my disc back in 2015. And I haven't even had it diagnosed because I don't have medical insurance. So, I just make do with what I got. The 33-year-old, oh, wait, hold on. I already did that, right? Yeah. Andrea Napoli, a lawyer in Rome, said he had no history of respiratory disease despite regularly working out, including water polo training. Holy crap. Seriously. Dude, that's like soldier stuff for your lungs, man. I mean, like I said in the last video, I mean, I swam throughout my schooling. I got really good at it. I think the best that I did, I swam. Now, I was like, I think a freshman in high school when I pulled this off. I swam 400 meters in the pool and I made it in it was like 5 minutes and 15 seconds, I think. But I got a blue ribbon for it. I don't know. But anyway, 400 meters. That's 16 lengths. It's 25 meters down to the end of the pool, 25 back, 16 over. Anyway, each way. But so yeah, water polo, yeah, that's good for your lungs. Anything in the water is going to really jack up your lung strength. So if you're trying to avoid coronavirus, I will say first and foremost, if you have access to an indoor pool where the water's warm, or if you live in an area of the country, Florida, like we're like the best as far as water temperature is concerned, but we're a little early on that one. I mean, let me go back again. I'm going to forget your name. I'm sorry, man. Brian Metris. I'm sorry, dude. And I'm probably not even saying your name right. I really apologize for that. But you could probably vouch for me, though, that the month of March, the water temperature, at least in the Gulf, is not quite adequate yet. I mean, like once we get into April, like maybe the end of April, you might start to be able to jump into swimming pools and get comfortable, like get used to the water. But I think during the month of March, we're not quite there. But we did have a really sunny March. So we might be good. We might be ready for all that. But anyway, yeah, if you can get some swimming exercises going, I mean, does coronavirus, does it hang in the water? I don't know. I mean, they treat the water with chlorine and that, so this and that and the other. So I don't know. I mean, is it safe? Is it not? I mean, you'd probably be hard pressed to find a swimming pool if you don't own one to swim in. So I think that's probably not an option for any of us. I mean, they even closed the beach. I mean, in Pinellas County, we can't even go to the beach now. Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike Metris. Maybe we can go to the beach. I don't know. We might be able to go if it's just us by ourselves. Maybe it's the 10-person rule. It might be the 10-person thing because I know they by and large shut the beaches down, but I don't know. I kind of heard conflicting information. Like, part of me says that the whole beach is closed down no matter if you're just one person. But another part of me is thinking that if you're with a group, you might still be okay. But I think as far as Pinellas County is concerned, I think they closed all of it. And again, I mean, it might just be the city of Clearwater or Clearwater Beach. Maybe they just closed that and a couple of others in the area. I'm not completely brushed up on that because I just don't go to the beach if the water's not warm. I mean, to me, it's just I just don't like the sand blown in the wind. It's a pain in the ass. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, like he's got some good lungs if he's doing water polo training. I mean, that's a good start, especially if he doesn't vape or smoke. So Napoli developed a cough and fever less than a week after Italy's premier locked down the entire nation. Until that day, Napoli said he was following his routine of work, jogging, and swimming. 3 days later, he tested positive for COVID-19. Initially, Napoli said he was told to quarantine at home with the warning that his condition could deteriorate suddenly, and it did. By the next day, he was hospitalized in intensive care with x-rays confirming he had developed pneumonia. Unfortunately, you have to live these things to really understand them totally, Napoli said to the Associated Press. I am 33 years old, in great health, and I found myself suddenly in less than a day and a half in intensive care. For most patients, the new coronavirus has caused mild symptoms such as fever and cough that cleared up in a few weeks. But for others, especially older adults and people with existing health problems, it could cause more severe illness, including pneumonia and death. Napoli spent the next 9 days breathing with an oxygen mask. During 2 days in intensive care, 3 patients in his ward died. He recalled that doctors were out of breath from pushing equipment around, dressed in protective masks, suits, and gloves, and exhausted from the long hours and strain. Now, just to add on to that a little more, There are, those like handheld manual, like those little balloon looking things that they squeeze, like in the TV show House, and those the ER shows and all that, like where they're like where like a technician is like squeezing that bubble looking thing that's pumping air into lungs. There's actually a company who used 3D printers to print out some really cheap materials to build like like basically a machine that will actually compress that thing, in the same rate that an average person breathes, and they did it all in under $300. So hopefully we'll start to see that crop up. But that's like the very basic form of a respirator. But I don't know if maybe some of the doctors were exhausted because they were pumping those things for hours on end. I don't think doctors necessarily do that. I think that's probably like LPNs and like nurses assistants, and people like that. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. That would really exhaust you pretty quickly if you're having to, like, what is that? Like every 2 seconds, you have to like squeeze that thing all the way down and lift it up, squeeze it all the way down, lift it up. I'm sure it's a lot more difficult than it looks, especially if you're 10, 20, 30 minutes into doing that for a patient who's unconscious and they need air. So let's see here. What I saw was a lot of pain. It was very hard, Napoli said. I heard screams from the other rooms, the constant coughing from the other rooms. After another week on a COVID-19 ward, officials moved him Friday to a hotel being used for patients recovering from the virus, where a doctor has checked in on him twice a day. He said he still can't breathe properly and oxygen levels in his blood haven't yet returned to normal. I get tired very easily, and that's a very common symptom we've been hearing in the U.S. Getting very tired, getting a fever, hard to breathe, things like that. So it sounds consistent. If I simply go from the toilet to the bed, I get out of breath. My muscles hurt because I was actually in bed for 9 days without the possibility of moving. So it wasn't very simple. And yeah, I could totally understand that because, I mean, there's been times that I've had back spasms and I could barely get out of bed for days on end. And yeah, that kills your muscles. Like, not kill, it's extremely painful. It really hurts your muscles to lay in one spot for days on end. So I can totally understand that. Napoli's first concern when the virus struck Italy was for his parents in their mid-60s. With 2 weeks of quarantine still ahead, he's looking forward to the day he can go out for a simple walk with them, something that Italy's strict containment measures still haven't allowed. Officials there on Sunday expressed cautious optimism that the measures were having an impact 2 weeks on. The number of positive cases in the previous 24 hours increased by just 5.4% to a total of 97,689. Significantly, the number of patients in intensive care nationwide rose by just 50, less than half of recent days, to 3,906, and the number of new deaths trended downward by about 10% a day since Friday to 756 reported Sunday. Italy still has seen the most deaths of any country, now at an estimated 10,779. And then it's a quote by a doctor, I'm sure out of Italy, but you get the gist of that. But you get a guy who's in perfectly good health. I mean, he looks like he's in good health. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he might be slightly heavy set, maybe. I mean, that's just like this angle is probably not. Well, no, isn't that something that overweight people do? Like when they want to look skinny, don't they just like lift the camera up above their head and they try to take a downward shot because it just makes you look skinnier? That's something that I heard like in past years. Like on dating websites or something. Like if you see somebody who takes a picture that's like pointing down at them, that they're definitely larger than what they look because it's just the way the angle works. I don't know. I'm full of crap. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I doubt that he's lying about water polo and working out regularly and all that. I'm sure. I mean, he looks like he's in really good health for sure, but that's kind of scary. I mean, maybe it just depends, because they were saying that there's some people who contract coronavirus and they don't really have any symptoms. They just get through it. I mean, me personally, I probably drink about, close to 30 ounces of orange juice a day. So I'm good on vitamin C. I mean, I don't know I'm not saying that that's going to help me, but it could. I mean, I know vitamin C is good for your immune system. At least I think it is. It's good for your body somehow, vitamin C. They say vitamin D is also really good for you, and they say that an easy way to get vitamin D is going out and getting some sunshine. So if you have a front or a backyard, just lay out for 15 minutes. Or if you feel like taking a walk, take a walk. Wear a tank top if the weather's warm. Don't cover up all your skin because that's not going to do any good for you. But, that's another way to get some vitamin D. I think milk, right? Doesn't milk have vitamin D? I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I'm pretty much done. It's 10 o'clock. Oh my God. How long have I been doing this for? It's been a while, right? Yeah, almost 2 hours. I wanted to be done in 1 hour. But the last thing that I'm just doing this just because I like doing these videos. I just don't want the weekend to end. I don't want to go to work tomorrow. I think if I just keep doing this, then I'll never have to go to work. Isn't that the way it works? You just keep doing what you're doing. Just don't go to sleep. If you don't go to sleep, like Sunday is never going to end. I wish. But yeah, on CDC, and at cdc.gov, this is the official site. This is the way that you can prevent from getting coronavirus or getting sick in general. You can take these steps to protect yourself and others during a COVID-19 outbreak. The virus is thought to spread mainly from person to person. And they give you a nice little picture if you don't understand that sentence. There is currently no vaccine to prevent coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19. The best way to prevent illness is to avoid being exposed to this virus. So it's very common sense stuff. Come on. That's like super common sense. How it spreads. I know you'd welcome my feedback. I'm sure you would. All right, folks, if you want to, participate in that, and if you're not making a YouTube video, you can, give them your feedback. I'm sure they'd greatly appreciate that. So the first thing is person-to-person spread. The virus is thought to spread mainly from person to person between people who are in close contact with one another within about 6 feet through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby or possibly being inhaled into the lungs. Or somebody who's sick, who's not paying attention to where they're coughing. They might cough into their hand and they might touch a doorknob or something. Surprised I didn't mention that, because a lot of what we hear, like in the mainstream area, is that we got to watch what we touch, like touching the handles of a sink, touching a doorknob, touching something like a light switch or an elevator button, whatever it might be. Something that a lot of people touch, gas pumps. If you're still into the whole newspaper thing, opening up a newspaper vending machine, whatever the hell they call those things, newspaper machine, newspaper, not receptacle. I guess that's something you throw a newspaper away into, but whatever, you know what I mean. Can someone spread the virus without being sick? People are thought to be most contagious when they are most symptomatic, the sickest. Some spread might be possible before people show symptoms. There have been reports of this occurring with this new coronavirus, but this is not thought to be the main way the virus spreads. Okay. Spread from contact with contaminated surfaces or objects. It may be possible that a person can get COVID-19 by touching a surface or object that has the virus on it and then touching their own mouth, nose, and possibly their eyes. But this is not thought to be the main way the virus spreads. Okay, so I guess, I stand corrected, because I thought that was probably the best way to get it, or the most common way people were going to be picking it up, but apparently no. Apparently if you're like around somewhere, I'm sure doorknobs, you could easily get them from a doorknob, but I'm sure a lot of people who have coronavirus right now who are coughing, they might be using their elbow. They might be, I would hope that by and large, anybody who's sick right now that goes out into public, which you absolutely should not do, but, there's some people out there that are selfish, whether if they know it or not, they might accidentally cough up into the air. And I've already mentioned a coworker of mine, he whenever he gets sick, he never uses his elbow, and I work next to him in a cubicle right next to him, and he did this last year. He had a bad cold. Like, he coughed like every 10 seconds all day. And every time he coughed, he leaned his neck back and he coughed straight vertically up into the air. I swear. Ugh. He did that every time. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, what if you have freaking strep throat? Those droplets are literally raining down on top of me right now, even though I can't freaking feel them. But he's not a jerk. He's a really nice guy. He really is. He's really, really nice. He's a really pleasant guy. He loves playing video games and stuff. I'm not a gamer at all, but he's a very nice guy. Very easy to get along with, but he doesn't practice common sense when it comes to being sick. And I'm sure he is one of millions out there. So I don't know. I'm just saying that in this environment right now, if he had a cold, if I went into work tomorrow morning, and I'm not sitting next to him anymore because he works from home now. We're phasing all that out. He was one of the early people to leave, which by the end of this week, my name is up on the list. I hope by Friday I will be getting phased out to work from home. I mean, I'm sort of excited about it. I'd rather be in the workplace because management's easy. Like they're easy to ask because they're right there. Um, Work from home, I'm kind of nervous about that, but whatever. It's for another conversation. But yeah, but if he's coughing up into the air and he's sick, and it's like coronavirus time, like that happens tomorrow, if he happened to be working next to me, I'd be like, dude, what the f? Come on, man. Cover your mouth, dude. Are you freaking kidding me? You're going to spread coronavirus all over the place. And it's unfortunate. And there's probably a better chance he doesn't have it than he does have it, but you just can't be too sure. And there are people out there, once they get sick, they don't care. They're miserable. I mean, it's not like that they're looking for people to be miserable with them, but they just don't care. They're sick. They're already compromised. So why worry about everybody else around them? And a lot of people have that perspective. These selfish people, they really do. I'm not saying my coworker is I'm not saying that he's selfish. I'm just saying that, he's probably subconsciously selfish. But anyway, let's see. Can someone spread the virus without being sick? People are thought to be most contagious when they are most symptomatic, the sickest. But some spread might be possible before people show symptoms. There have been reports of this occurring with this new coronavirus, but this is not thought to be the main way the virus spreads. Spread from contact with contaminated surfaces or objects. It may be possible that a person could get COVID-19 by touching a surface or object that has the virus on it and then touching their own mouth, nose, or possibly their eyes, but this is not thought to be the main way the virus spreads. See how easily the virus spreads. How easily a virus spreads from person to person can vary. Some viruses are highly contagious, spread easily, like measles, while other viruses do not spread as easily. Another factor is whether the spread is sustained, spreading continually without stopping. That's my VPN, by the way. The virus that causes COVID-19 seems to be spreading easily and sustainably in the community spread, in some affected geographic areas. Community spread means people have been infected with the virus in an area, including some who are not sure how or where they became infected. And then they give some situations a situation in the U.S. But yeah, I think what they're mostly scared about is that somebody caught coronavirus and it could take as long as 2 weeks in certain cases that they found that they've had it and they're just now showing symptoms. But the thing that I'm wondering is that if you're not showing any symptoms of coronavirus, but you have coronavirus, that means you're not coughing. You're not spraying it into the air and infecting other people. But you're carrying it, but you're asymptomatic. So you're not coughing, you're not sneezing. So I guess in those cases, those people who have it and they don't know they have it, I guess if you touch your mouth or if you touch your nose or you pick your nose or something, or you blow your nose because you ate spicy food or something, and then you didn't wash your hands properly and you touch the doorknob or you start touching things around the area, people who are not infected may touch that and they end up touching their mouth or their nose before they wash their hands. That could be a way it could get spread. I don't know, but that's a long time to be contagious and not know you have it. I mean, I guess technically I could have it. I mean, I could have had it for, I guess by their count, I guess on the extreme case, I could have had it for 13 days now and still not know I have it. And tomorrow I could wake up like crazy sick. I mean, that's what I've heard. That's what I've read. I heard normally it's like 4 to 5 days that you do have coronavirus and you don't know you have it yet. And that's by the time that you start to show symptoms. You start to sneeze, you start to cough, you get a fever, things like that. You get respiratory issues, you wheeze. You're starting to get like bronchitis like effects. Like if you go if you do that, you'll hear a lot of that bubbling up type sound. Anybody who's had bronchitis or God forbid pneumonia, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you exhale, like mouth exhale, you can hear all of that in your lungs and in your chest, all that fluid just crackling as you're breathing out. That's not good, man. Every time you cough that, I mean, you're coughing up tons of stuff. Like every time you cough, you get like a ball of phlegm coming up with it. I know it's gross, but I don't know. I don't know how phlegmy it is, coronavirus. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen anything, but anyway, I know I'm just talking too much. I'm done. I'm way done with this. I mean, I was done 30 minutes ago, but I really do appreciate you watching these videos, anybody who's still here. And I will try to get another video up tomorrow. You know that if you've been watching my last videos, you know how the deal is. You know that this video is not getting posted tonight. It's probably going to get posted tomorrow. I will get the video editor going. I will get it ready, and I will try as hard as I can. As soon as I get home from work, I'm going to throw it right on YouTube. But I still have to type out the description. I still have to plug in all the tags. I still have to check all the items off, like like the comments part, allow anybody to make any comments they want, and there's a bunch of options. I mean, I'm sure most of you have probably uploaded at least one YouTube video, so you know what I'm talking about. There's like a whole bunch of different things that you got to do before you actually click publish. So I mean, I'm so used to doing it now, it only takes like 10 minutes maybe, but when it comes to getting ready for work tomorrow, I mean, it might sound selfish, but I would really like to get that extra 10 minutes of sleep, even though it doesn't sound that significant. And trust me, if I have an extra 10 minutes to my schedule set aside for doing the YouTube stuff to get it up, something's gonna come up. It will. Something's gonna come up, and I'm only gonna have myself to blame for that. So the best thing that I can do right now, especially since it's after 10 o'clock, I'm just gonna get it up tomorrow. The news, like I've been saying, it's equally as relevant. The news is not going to be outdated. Everything that I'm posting, if you get it a day late or 2 days late, maybe in some cases, the news is still equally relevant. I mean, the news, it's only getting worse. So, anything that I publish in my YouTube videos, it's still at the very least, it is equally as relevant as you're reading it, and maybe even more relevant a day or two later. But anyway, if there's anything that I should be doing that I'm not doing, please leave something in the comments. Just let me know. Critique what I'm doing. I mean, like Drudge Report, that was awesome. I mean, that's cool. Now I can filter that into my daily research now. Now I can always hit up Drudge Report. That's pretty cool because that's a really good resource, and it's very it's just really easy to navigate as opposed to other methods that I use to get my articles. So if you came across a random article, drop a link in the comments, or just do whatever you want to do. And if you leave a comment, I'll be sure to get it up here if it's helpful to everybody. So I guess that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching, and definitely stay super safe out there. Best of luck to everybody. I hope your family and your friends are staying safe. I hope you're encouraging them to stay safe, stay indoors. Don't go to grocery stores unless it's absolutely essential. And even if you have to go, wear cloth gloves, even wear winter gloves, wear long sleeve shirts, pants, like do anything you can to protect yourself. And don't jump in your car and drive home wearing all that stuff. As soon as you get out of the grocery store, turn all those inside out, throw it in a trash bag. Obviously, make sure that you have a change of clothes on underneath what you're wearing, because what you're wearing on the outside should be very loose fit pajamas and a nice baggy, loose, long sleeve shirt over that, or a hoodie maybe. Cover up your hair and everything when you go into the grocery store. And then when you come out, you can take everything off inside out, just roll it up, throw it in a bag, and just pack it all in, tie it up. I mean, I didn't read this from CDC. I didn't read this from a reliable news thing. This is just my own personal thought that, it's better than not doing anything. It's better than just walking in there with a tank top and, like board shorts or swim trunks or something, and just waltzing in there with flip-flops and stuff and just grabbing whatever you want with your bare hands and filling up your cart and then wheeling it out and, chucking it all in there, and then taking all that stuff that other people probably touched before you took it off the shelf and bring it inside. Just use common sense. Everything that I bought the other day from the grocery store, I actually sprayed every single item with an aerosol disinfectant spray. I did. And I wiped it with a towel, like a washcloth. But I mean, I'm doing whatever I can to keep that virus from getting inside this house, because my mom has asthma. So, I guess I have to stay extra careful when I go out. So I'm doing the best I can. I hope you're doing the best you can, and hopefully we'll get through this as soon as possible. And I guess until tomorrow, I guess I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay extra safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow.